18, it's like when you win that title, all those flashes of all the things that happen to get to that, and all of a sudden you're winning, and the lights and the confetti's coming down, and it's like, wow, I just won the biggest title in the world. Kid from Massachusetts, you know, that everyone said couldn't do it. It was a pretty awesome feeling, and I still, when I reminisce, when I'm reminded by fans like yourself, it's a gift. It's a gift to win the biggest.
Jay, who did you like to compete against the most? Phil or Ron? Or
Ronnie.
Who did you like to beat the most?
Ronnie Coleman, of course. You know, Phil was a close friend of mine. I knew Phil would be great. I think Phil will break the record, though. I think he'll win 10 Olympias or 9 or whatever. His 8's the record right now, but I think he's going for 7 this year. So I don't watch it as much, though, to be honest now. Like, I didn't go to the Olympia last year and watch. I don't know a lot of the guys as much. I know Phil and obviously Sean Rhodes, but the top guys, but there's a lot of new breed coming in, and I don't follow magazines, and I don't really get online and look at as much bodybuilding stuff anymore. I just kind of it's hearsay at more of the events and whatever else. Hopefully I'll attend this year, though. I was at the Expo last year. I just didn't attend the contest. Or I'll try to watch the webcast, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a little more comfortable sometimes.
What do you think of Kevin Levrone coming back after so many years off?
I think Kevin coming back was awesome. I mean, 52 or whatever he was. I'm 43, and I'm like not even thinking about coming back. So I can't imagine like enduring all that training again. And I don't know what his mindset was, is why he did it. I guess unfinished business. He didn't win the title. He was second. He probably should have won a couple. I think it's great, but it was good for him to step on there. I wish he would have done better. He didn't do as well as I expected him to do. But it's really hard to come back at that age and be competitive with the younger guys. But he did it. Lonnie.
I'd like to take this time to apologize to Jay Cutler. To go back a long time ago when the young man turned pro, I congratulated him and said, you know, congratulations, you turned pro, but this is it. You'll never be a great pro, you're a blocky white guy. I had to write a letter of apology in Ironman magazine. Just want to say this guy's one of the greatest champions of all time, not only on opposing day, but off it. One of the all-time greats, Hall of Fame, first ballot, and thank you so much for supporting. This guy has supported my contest for 10 or 12 years in a row. And no matter what he had on his plate, he was at my show, whether it was in Pasadena, East Los Angeles College, Rosemead High School, now in Riverside. He's been here every year for me. He kept his word is gold, and you can't put anything more on that. Thank you very much.
I mentioned when I started Lonnie, you know, I came here since the beginning of the show, I think. And I told him I would be, I couldn't remember all the locations because it's been switched around so many times, but now it seems to be here, and this venue is great, and the show continues to grow, and it's supported by so many great people and a lot of staff members and everything that have been active for so many years. But Lonnie, I told you from the beginning I would be there till the end, and I will continue to support your contest. I drove out here today. I drove out just to come out here to speak, and I'll probably go back home. So I'm not staying. I drove 3.5 hours out and 3.5 hours back.
Bert Perry's not here. You can go to dinner with
and
us.
I'm not going to ask you to buy me any food or anything like that. So.
Really? And let me tell you, the guy was on time every year except for 1 year. And he gave me the excuse there was a porn convention in downtown LA, and he couldn't get through the traffic. He didn't go. He couldn't get through the traffic. Remember that?
I was on time. I just wasn't on your time. Lonnie, thank you for continuing to put on a great contest. I know a lot of people are excited. I've watched the social media exposure, and you know that's given us, you know, Lonnie was one of these guys, we reflect on the magazine days because that was our exposure, and this whole game has changed the opportunity for people to compete. You know, you remember when it was bodybuilding strictly, when I started. Now there's so many divisions we can't even keep track. Someone like you probably can't, even as a promoter, can't even keep track of the divisions, but it's just a blessing to be able to see the fitness arena continue to flourish, and congratulations on the Expo too here, which is awesome.
You are a legend, and to me, you're representing the longevity of bodybuilding. Just looking at you right now, you still keeping really good size. You're looking great. What is the key? What can you advise and recommend to us?
You know, I was a really oversized bodybuilder. I was more of a mass, what they call mass monster. And fortunately for me, the size came rather quickly, more easily maybe than some of the other guys. Although I always strive to get bigger and my body parts weren't always even. And I've come down from a huge body weight. I mentioned I was 310 pounds. I competed upwards to 270, my best probably being between 250 and 260. And I've continued to eat on a consistent diet, and I continue to train. And I think a lot of the other professionals, when they do retire, tend to steer away from it because they necessarily don't have the true passion for what bodybuilding is. And I'm gonna mention, when I started training at the age of 18, I was at a huge crossroad in my life where my family wanted me to work in the concrete business. I wanted to go to college. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I went for criminal justice to be a police officer because I wanted to get to California and ride a motorcycle as a cop. I wanted to be like Chips. And that's the truth. I'm not lying. It's not a joke. I would ride motorcycles. I rode ATVs. That's how I grew up. But my dream was to get to California. I figured the way I was going to do it, I was going to become a police officer so I could ride that motorcycle and be like Chips. Instead, I started to become a bodybuilder. I started training in the gym, and what I realized at that point, I enjoyed the time where I had no stress for that hour or 2 hours a day. I didn't think about, okay, my family wants me to do this, or I was going to school for criminal justice, I had to study for this, that. I was clear, my mind was clear, so the training was therapy for me. And I loved it so much, it's so easy for me. The training was the easiest part about being Jay Cutler, what I did. The hardest part was the diet and staying with the balance of traveling and, you know, eating the meals when I wasn't hungry other than the 3 meals a day, and I had to eat 6 more or 5 more meals than what I was actually hungry for. Eating that much food, sitting down with a plate of egg whites in the morning, you know, 30 egg whites, and stuffing myself to the point where I just wanted to throw up. That's what it took to keep that size. So now I'm 230 pounds, which is a lot smaller than what I was. But it's very easy for me to maintain this. I can eat 2 meals a day and maintain this because I'm still training, and I came down from, it's very hard to lose muscle mass. And listen, in 10 years, I'll probably be down to, you know, 210 or 200 pounds, whatever it may be. I started at 200, so I expect to someday go back to that weight. I thought I'd retire and shrink down to 200 right away, but I was able to maintain quite a bit. I've lost about 20 pounds since I was here last year. So my goal has been 230. I'm shooting maybe for 220 now, that's a little more leaner. And we'll see where it takes me. But the diet is 80% of what we do. You have to eat sufficient calories, consistently, meal timing, meal preparation is very, very important. Okay.
First off, thank you so much for serving and giving back. That's awesome, and thanks for supporting our troops. So my question is, do you eat clean most of the time and take a cheat day, or what's your diet like?
Very good question. I do eat clean on like most aspects. I have a meal service that delivers meals actually at this point, and I do cook my breakfast. I eat the same breakfast as I did when I was competing, okay? Not 30 egg whites, but I drink the egg whites now because back then we didn't have pasteurized egg white. I had to cook them. I would crack that many eggs actually. I'd buy like 30 dozen eggs at a time. My whole refrigerator would be full of eggs. And I'd crack all the eggs every day. But it's, you know, you have to have days where you eat off diet. Okay, I'm a burger and fries guy. I had a little pizza last night because I was just eating and they didn't have a good menu, so I just ate it. But I don't have planned cheat days. It usually falls on, okay, when's the best time to eat whatever. If there's nothing available, that's when I'll eat. But it's better to eat something than nothing, okay? I'm very picky with my food, so I don't mind eating the chicken and rice or the egg whites in the morning, or You know, I'm not a huge red meat eater now as much. I tend to eat more white fish now, which when I was training, I hated it because I dieted 5 pounds a day. I was sick of it. But I eat, you know, still moderate carbs, not 1,000 carbs a day, but I probably still eat 300 grams of carbs a day, and I stayed relatively lean. So I don't have a set day, but I do have cheats. A lot of people have Sunday as their cheat day, whatever it is, maybe an off day. But I think it's good for your mentality to have, you know, some foods that are restrictive most of the time. Okay. When I trained for competition, though, I would not cheat whatsoever for 16 weeks. 16 weeks of strict diet, and it was like on my refrigerator every day, and I followed that to a T. And I journaled everything. I wrote down everything I did. Nowadays, you probably put in your phone or whatever, but we wrote them down. I have all the journals in my mom's attic back in Massachusetts.
One question, Jay.
Yes, sir.
How do you palate tilapia?
How do I what?
How can you stand tilapia, or is there a special recipe that you, or something that you cook?
It tastes like
tilapia?
shit.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
It is shit.
A lot of lemon. A lot of sea salt and pepper or butter spray or something. Yes, sir.
Have you ever written a book, or do you plan to write a book?
I did a book called CEO Muscle. It was a training book. It actually followed the guidelines of the book I mentioned that I bought at GNC at 16 called Beyond Built. So it was more instructional trainer. It told a little bit of my lifestyle, my techniques, and how I actually dieted and trained. But obviously now it would have to be updated quite a bit. So the next one's coming. And books aren't as, it's not as relative today. I mean, maybe online books, you know, ebooks, but you know, books, people don't tend to read as much, I don't think, anymore. They don't go into bookstores and sit down and read like we used to. But if I get enough feedback from it, you know, I'll get on that rather quickly. More of a biography, because I have a lot of stories to tell and a lot of lifestyle things that I did, and along with the training would be great. A lot of knowledge. A lot of knowledge, a lot of stories, a lot of things people don't know about. I think I'd like to expose some of those.
AJ, what was your favorite body part to train and your least favorite body part to train? You hated the most?
Two favorite body parts going to be my back and my legs, because they were the hardest ones to train. A lot of angles, a lot of volume. I did 20 sets per body part for most body parts, okay? So I would really just try to really get the muscles expanded. And back training is hard. I needed to improve my back a lot to win the Mr. Olympia, compete against Ronnie Coleman. So I really focused on a lot of training with that. But the legs, I had great legs, so I always liked to train them. I'd squat till my nose bled when I was a teenager. And I was a 700-pound squatter at 19. And that was a big ego boost for me. So I don't like to train legs as much now. I squat a plate now, that's it. And my legs are still too big to fit into a lot of pants. The hardest part about having big legs, you can't fit into clothes. So thank God stretch jeans are in now and tight joggers.
Yeah, I had a question. Who's your favorite pro competitor to compete against, and who's your least favorite to compete against?
My favorite to compete against, Ronnie Coleman. Someone asked that. Least favorite. I don't know. I don't have anyone that I didn't like competing against, because I beat everybody. So, yeah. But you know what's funny? I was telling someone this story this morning, because they were saying, hey, so what goes on a bodybuilding stage, like when you guys are going through your poses? And I'll tell you guys, you don't see it. Especially, you know, go home and like Google the videos of the Olympia. And when we turn to the back, a lot of times, I used to talk so much shit, you know? I'd be like, all right, boys, time to go to school. Because there was a lot of the younger guys, you know? So I'm like, time to go to school, boys. And we get into our poses and hit the back shots. But, you know, Ronnie would talk, him and I would talk so much, like when we turned and they couldn't see our mouths, we would talk so much shit to each other. Like, you know, but he was always like, oh yeah, now you're ready to go home now. You know, he turned to the back because his back was crazy, right? But when I knew like 06, I knew I was going to win, and I said I was going to shave my hair. I had crazy hair at the time, and I said I'm going to shave my head if I lose this contest. And I'm like, there's no way I'm losing because I'm not shaving my head. And when I turned around, I'm like, okay, Ronnie, time to meet your maker now, you know? And I hit the back shots and beat him on the back shots, you know? So that was awesome. But I don't have a least favorite. Everyone was receptive and respectable on stage, but we did talk shit.
A guy like Kai Green gets frustrated because he can't get past Phil, and he drops the elbow on him, and then he gets up in his face, and Phil just kind of smiles at him.
I would have kicked his ass. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that didn't get confrontational, to be honest, because I was there actually watching that one. It was great for the crowd appeal, but I think they were filming the movie that year. I think so. I think a lot of it was for the movie. I think they told them to be a little aggressive, but I'll be honest, like that's not really bodybuilding. Like we're not like trying to knock each other out. I mean, we have competitors that we like and dislike, and honestly, they don't like each other. Phil doesn't like him, and I don't think he likes Phil. With Ronnie and I, like I said, we kind of hated each other because we were fighting, but we were very respectable and we were friends. But when it came down to winning that title and obviously what comes with it, you know, we were very, very challenged. So, you know, we still converse now, but I don't think Phil and Kai will ever be friends, to be honest. And now Kai's walked away. He's not competing there anymore. So, you know, he's going to have to live with that, which I think he would have the opportunity to. If I wouldn't give up. I mean, I was second 4 times, and everyone said you're never going to win, and I stayed with it and I won. So for me, it's like maybe I'm just really hard-headed. That could be the reason too. I'm stubborn. Well, listen, when I won, it was so great. Those second place finishes were the best things for my career ever. Okay, that built my fan base a lot. I did it for the fans.
How you doing, Jay? What's your best exercise for grip? I have plates in my forearm right here, and just kind of haven't really gone past.
You want forearm development?
Yeah.
I think like wrist curls, like with a barbell. I like to do behind the back wrist curls, or like a curl like this where it's going to work more brachialis, or wrist curls even reversed. Okay, that's really good for the forearms. But you get a lot of indirect forearm work with like your back training and. You know, shrugging, that kind of stuff, where you're holding that grip, you know, heavy weights. So a lot of bodybuilders don't train their forearms. It's not one of the body parts they train.
Didn't you say you were doing 100 squats a day?
Did I say what?
You said something about doing 100 squats a day.
No. I mean, no. I'm not training legs as hard now. I want to keep my butt though. So I think squats are really good, especially you ladies out there. Even if it's just with no weights. I think squats are really good to engage the glutes in there. Because I don't want to be like, as my legs come down a little bit in size, I still got huge legs, but I want to keep my butt, you know. I know that sounds weird, but I see too many guys like with flat butts. You see that too, right? I think so. But I think, you know, squatting's important. Even with no weights, I know a lot of people have knees and stuff like that, or hips that bother them. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jay, how's it going? What's the difference between your off-season workout and pre-contest?
Good question. Off-season to pre-contest workouts, absolutely nothing. The weights don't change, the reps don't change. The only difference is the diet changes, and the cardio is a little more excessive getting ready for competition. So that's how I try to dial my body in. A lot of work can be done with the diet alone. My cardio sessions are preferably first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, or after the weight training session. Those are the only times really anyone should do any cardio, is usually after a workout or first thing in the morning. Yes, you can, if you want to stimulate metabolism, you can do it between any meal or whatever. But if you're trying to lose body fat and hold on to muscle size, first thing in the morning, fasted, 30 to 60 minutes. And I like to do more of a steady pace. Some people like high intensity cardio where they do intervals like fast for 2 minutes, whatever, but I never really measured heart rate. It was just about consistency and trying to boost the metabolism, because all I'm trying to do is keep my metabolism going in order to burn down the calories and still maintain the muscle and lose the body fat at the same time. And that's why we give ourselves 4 months in preparation to train for the Mr. Olympia. I gave myself always enough time. Some people prefer 12 weeks. I was lean even at 16 weeks, and I prefer to do 16 weeks. I do step mill every day for 30 minutes. I did this morning. I probably won't hit any weights today because I'm going to probably drive back to Vegas tonight, and then I'll get back in the gym tomorrow. I do the same. It's all the same, just a steady rate. All rep range, and 10 to 12 repetitions, all my weights, always. That's worked best for me.
I just wanted to know your thoughts on intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. I never did it. I mean, I always ate my meals, like I said, 2.5 to 3 hours apart, and I usually just did my daily and then slept 6 hours or whatever else. When I was trying to put on weight, I'd get up in the middle of the night and I would eat. Okay, so I've heard a lot. That's the second time this week someone's asked me about intermittent fasting. Maybe it's becoming more popular. It wasn't something that was talked about when I was competing as much, but I just followed like that guideline. The body needs sufficient calories every 2.5 to 3 hours, and I ate through the day, or a lot of times I was actually eating through the night and I would sleep more during the day. But I know as the contest loomed closer, I tend to be eating almost like 20 hours a day. I wasn't sleeping as much because my metabolism was so fast I was hungry all the time.